Are you a scaling SaaS founder?
Ready to make the leap from leading a team to leading an organization? Join us each week as we refill your think tank with actionable tips and strategies from great business minds you know and those who don't know yet. This is SaaS Fuel with your host, 5-time entrepreneur, SaaS founder, and globetrotting adventurer, Jeff Maines.
Welcome back to the SaaS Fuel podcast, where luxury isn't defined as having a diamond-studded teacup. I'm your host, Jeff Maines. I help B2B SaaS founders like you scale from 7 figures, which is good, to 8 and 9 figures, which is outstanding. Together, we supercharge revenue growth, create premium valuation, and craft a business you're proud of and a life of impact and freedom that you love. Well, I am back home from Hawaii. Got a little bit crazy last week. We came back kind of toward the end of last week. And I'm sure you heard about and have seen the fires in Maui and some on the Big Island as well. Maui completely devastated. If you want to help, check out HawaiiCommunityFoundation.org or Red Cross. Both are on site and very involved in the day-to-day relief efforts, both outstanding organizations. We'll link that in the show notes. HawaiiCommunityFoundation.org, and of course, the Red Cross. But on a more personal note, we had a great time when we were there, did a fair amount of diving, and visited every single part of the islands, high, low, volcanoes, ocean, like I said, a lot of diving. Mentioned before being on top of the world's largest mountain, the stars, volcanoes, steam vents, lava flows. There's incredible diversity there as well. The Big Island itself, 11 of the 15 different climate zones just right there on the island. And I didn't know that before. I assumed it was all like green and tropical, but there's desert, there's grasslands, there's rainforest, mountains, snow. Who would think like snow in Hawaii? It's unreal, but it's extremely beautiful, but very, very diverse. I added a video on social about 10 surprising things I learned about Hawaii as well. So that's kind of fun. As I said before, manta rays were at the top of my list for this trip, kind of behind Pearl Harbor, North Shore. Wanted to go see some lost filming locations where they shot some Jurassic Park stuff, a few others. And on our first night dive, looking for manta rays, not a single one. I don't know where they were, but they weren't around. They're off doing something else. I don't know what. And so it's like, okay, well, we tried, and it was a great night dive, super, super dark, no moon. And so it was extremely dark under the water, lots of critters coming out. So really, really good. It was a great night dive, but not really exactly what we'd hoped for. And over the weekend, that was earlier in the week, and over the weekend, we heard that 8 manta rays showed up. And so it's like, okay, well, should we try again? And just looking at the schedules, you can't dive and fly in the same 24 hours. You can't fly after diving for 24 hours. So we really kind of had one small window. And it's like, should we try again? And the answer is, well, of course, if they're going to be there. But yeah, they're wild animals. And I've been doing wildlife photography for years, and it's extremely unpredictable. And you get skunked a lot. It requires extreme patience, a little bit of luck, and working really, really hard to be in the right place at the right time. You have to get the gear to work, and then it's, getting that 1 in 1,000 shot, no exaggeration. 1 in 1,000 is a great image, and 1 in 25 is pretty good. But you shoot a lot of things, and it's like, well, that's not great. So there's a lot of challenge around doing that. So you spend a lot of money, endure a bunch of discomfort, and don't get the results that you want. It sounds a little bit like entrepreneurship and leading organizations. Extreme patience, a little luck, working really, really hard to be in the right place at the right time, and then dealing with disappointment and continuing on until those moments happens. And you get that 1 in 1,000 moment when it all comes together, and you're like, yes, totally worth it. And so the big question, should we try again? One day before we leave, 24 hours to dive flight. It was a squeeze. It was literally, we're going to get off the boat and 24 hours later we're on a plane. But that's what founders do, right? We squeeze, we're right there. And if it didn't work, it's like, all right, one more try. And so, taking that entrepreneurial spirit, we did. So second night dive, last chance, it's either this or, we missed it. But if nothing else, we tried. And I think that's something to just kind of carry forward with the entrepreneurial spirit is I'm going to give it 100%, take every possible opportunity. And if I strike out, so be it. There's nothing more I could have done to make it happen. So second night dive, and there were mantas everywhere. 22 of them showed up. It was insanity. I'll post a video of that on social as well. Our final 2 dives that night were actually the best of the entire trip by far. I mean, eagle ray, manta rays, sharks, eels, scorpion fish, nudibranchs, garden eels, squid, fish everywhere. I mean, it was mind blowing, and so glad that we tried again. And that 1 in 1,000 moment, and it doesn't always work that way. And I get it. Sometimes you go and you give it everything you got, and you strike out. And I've been there. But this is one of those times where everything just came together, worked really hard to be in the right place at the right time, and it worked out, and it was incredible. And I love that. So, but if, as an entrepreneur, if you're in one of those spots where you're doing all that you can, you're spending cash, maybe not getting the results you want, maybe feeling a little bit skunked sometimes, keep on going. Try again. I mean, continue to put yourself in the right place at the right time. Set yourself up for success. Gather intel. Look for a fresh approach. Quit those best practices that are not getting the results that you want, and do things the way that you think they should work. Find out what's working for other companies in a similar place to you. Find out what's working now, not what worked 6 months ago or a year ago or 10 years ago or back in the 90s. What is working right now, and capture that 1 in 1,000 moment in your business. Our founder today did that. She built a business where others said it was impossible, can't be done, won't work. And she didn't listen to any of that. She did it anyway. She did it her way, and is rocking a thriving business because of it. So if you want to capture those 1 in 1,000 moments and know what's working for other B2B SaaS founders today, check out today's sponsor, Champion Leadership Group. It's the ultimate resource for SaaS founders and C-suite executives to continue to develop themselves, scale their companies, and never walk alone on the journey. Supercharge revenue by leveraging time-tested SaaS growth principles, toolkits, playbooks, frameworks designed to help you scale ARR from 7 to 8 to 9 figures. Collaborate with an elite network of SaaS visionaries, celebrate wins, and rally to help lift up those maybe feeling a little skunky. Confidently take that right next step that turns into a quantum leap of profitable growth, premium valuation, and freedom. Learn more at championleadership.com. Last week, both episodes, we celebrated 100. Really excited about that. Multiple interviews with SaaS founders, guests that I had at different events. So we did those live at events, and so much fun. And we had some return guests as well, giving their number one tip for SaaS founders. It was so much fun. Did the intros in Hawaii, made a lot of connections over there. And so if you missed it, go back and check it out. It's actually, I think it's best on our YouTube channel. We have founders from Scotland in kilts, founders with pink hair, and a couple of them in suits. All 3 of those are very different for the SaaS space and different from each other. And I love that diversity. And across the board, what they all have in common is that they're all building amazing SaaS businesses and positively impacting clients in their own unique way. I really love that. So if you missed either of those episodes, go back. We talk about the future of SaaS and really getting their perspectives on where they are today and what the future looks like. It was so much fun. 100 episodes is our episode 99 and 100 last week. We called them both 100. So if you missed those, go back and check them out. Lots and lots of fun. I think we had a total, I want to say 12 or maybe 15 guests, something like that. Plus some of the previous guests are probably 20 overall. It was so much fun to put together, and our team did an absolutely incredible job. My guest this week is impacting clients in her own unique way as well. And like I said, it's one of those things of being told, oh, that'll never work. You can't do that. So she just disproved them all and did it anyway. Casey Golden is the founder and CEO of Luxlock, a consumer-centric commerce experience platform that merges digital and physical shopping experiences into elevated brand experiences. Luxlock serves premium and luxury brands, bringing them into the digital age. So think about this. High-end brands, think about the highest end brands, they rely on super personal, exclusive shopping experiences, right? And e-commerce is the polar opposite of that. It's like as impersonal as you could possibly get. But what if you could deliver that super personalized experience like a luxury brand digitally. Think about that. And that is what Casey and Luxlock do. I mean, it's just like mind blowing. It's like, how do you take those two worlds and put them together? And Casey is a disruptive industry thought leader advocating for a more humanized internet by augmenting talent to scale on-demand personalization without sacrificing consumer privacy or denying luxury brands their foundational DNA of that high touch experience. It's pretty epic. Welcome a two-time tech founder, startup advisor, speaker, and advocate for women in technology who is guiding enlightened, super exclusive brands into digital transformation, Casey Golden. Hey, Casey, welcome to SaaS Fuel.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm super stoked to be here and talk a little bit about SaaS. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, you do SaaS differently than many other companies, and that it's not your typical e-commerce. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So we sell our software to luxury brands. They're typically anywhere from $1 billion to $20 billion in sales a year. So they're very large accounts. And our industry, really in the retail tech space, to service them, a lot of them are professional services companies. There's a lot of positives and drawbacks. I kind of took the best of both worlds and kind of created our own business model that allowed us to do more of the good stuff and less of the icky stuff. So we really focused on having a SaaS model, but it couldn't just be one SaaS fee for one account. There'd be way too much money on the table, or that SaaS fee would be ridiculously priced because not every brand is exactly the same. So, we do charge a monthly SaaS plus it compounds by locations, and then we go ahead and take a 5% rev share. So if they're making money using our software, we're making money. If we see an opportunity to make more money, they're making more money. So we're just going to build the software and want to get it to production as soon as possible to do things like reduce returns, sell more products, increase happiness. Anything that's going to help move those sales KPIs is beneficial to the brand, and it's beneficial to us.
I love that goal alignment. That when they're successful, you're successful. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. In a previous life, I sold ERP systems. So it was like, here, buy this $10 million piece of software. And I need 3 desks in your office for the next 4 years.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite model, right? We're going to go camp out and continue to extract dollars. And if you're successful or not, not a problem.
Not a problem, because we're still billing, and we have no idea what we're building because we don't have a vision for the future. We're just coming up with stuff randomly to keep our desk in your office. Yeah, and I just couldn't work that way. I'm like, I like my friends that work at the brands. I thought when I moved to the software side of the retail industry, I thought I'd be able to solve all the problems. And that's kind of where I learned that those aren't the problems they're trying to solve. They don't want to solve the problems. They want to get paid to think about the problems.
There you go. Yeah, very, very different. So when we talk about luxury brands, what does that mean? I mean, how does it work? And what is a luxury brand?
At the end of the day, the only luxury really is time, right? So you're saving time, you're earning time, you're getting value for your time. So the way we kind of look at that is luxury brands don't compete on price. They compete on experience. So if the only factor of a consumer buying a product is how much it costs, they're probably not a luxury brand, right? Because you're not price comparing. And so that could be a $200 pair of jeans that are made in the US instead of made in somewhere else. It could be a $60 ponytail holder. It can be $65 shampoo and conditioner, because you can buy shampoo and conditioner for 99 cents, or you can spend $70 to $100 on it. So it's not that the shampoo and conditioner is $1,000. It's just out of the market. It's probably not going to be on Amazon. The brand probably wants to know who their customer is. And a lot of times all of these premium and luxe business models have commission-based or compensation of commission salespeople.
Very different model.
Yeah, you are earning commission for that sale. And so it's more important for the relationship between the customer and their sales associate than it is for them to run an ad.
So when we think about luxury brands like that, I mean, most of the sales have traditionally have been done in person. You go to a store, it's a big deal. How does that translate online? I mean, how do they do e-commerce?
Yeah, so e-commerce has been a big DNA struggle for the last,
Sure.
decade or so. Is they were very late to adopt e-commerce because it really stood for everything that they were against on a DNA level. They did not want customers to have a self-serve process because it deleted the experience. And it was never about price. It was about the experience with the brand, a sense of belonging, being able to enjoy yourself and essentially enjoy your time. It wasn't just about buying something. It was really the experience. So, but 2018, 2019, luxury brands started adopting e-com. What it looked and felt like has been the big question is how do you bring that brick and mortar experience that compounds every time you walk in over 20 years? How do you bring that online? And how do you reconnect these sales associates to their customers digitally so that they can maintain their commission, maintain their relationship, and still enjoy each other and still enjoy the brand? And that's really where we focused on building digital clienteling system that went on the brand's e-commerce store so that they could provide live shopping services so that there was an additional sales funnel. You can do self-serve or you can go guided. Overall, increasing the total traffic conversion in general.
So it is really bringing that in-store experience online, like the guided.
Yeah, because, when you buy more of the premium products and you're working with a professional shopper, they're kind of your editor. They're recommending items for you. You're not going to scroll through 2,300 black shoes. Somebody's just going to say, "Hey, Jeff, nice to see you again. How was vacation? Fall's here." And they're just going to recommend 2 boots, pair of jeans, a blazer, 4 shirts, and get you set. They're going to make that assumption to get you ready without you having to say what you want or what you're looking for. That just allows us our goal is just to design time well spent. I don't want it to be like our average time in chat is 18 minutes. And we love that. But a KPI for e-com to be 18 minutes means you have like a conversion rate problem or somebody can't find something. Like it's not necessarily a good thing. But for us, we want to be able to hit that pause button, create an experience that results in a sale or just a happy customer. I think the biggest thing is e-com is all about that transaction. And if a piece of traffic doesn't convert, it's bad. And in luxury, the goal is not to make the sale. The goal is to have a good time. And if you do a really good job taking care of your customer, the result is them buying something. Maybe today, maybe next week, maybe next month. But it's not about the transaction. It's about the relationship.
And that's really interesting. So you have this big mismatch between luxury brands and e-commerce. And definitely different goals here, kind of what traditional e-commerce is. So you just decided to build a SaaS and jump right in the middle of it.
Yep.
I love that. How did you come up with the idea? I mean, how do you take those two things and go, this is a bridge that I can build?
It was really difficult. Like there's a reason why live chat and messengers and SMS, there's a reason that they use affiliate marketing links. It's easy.
Sure.
It doesn't do the whole job, but it's easy. Doesn't take a lot of tech for that.
Right.
And so, but the experience lacks. And
it definitely does. Yeah.
I'm really not shopping with somebody. It's all delayed. You send me a link to a page, I'm still shopping by myself. And so the main goal was really, how do I create a live selling environment that has two-way conversation happening with products between a constant relationship alignment? Your salesperson, not random, not you going and having to start all over again every single time, right?
Right.
Just have that consistency. So we did end up building a new type of commerce messenger that is integrated with inventory, and it's able to kind of do a laydown or outfit so that you can grab something that you own with something new, with something you wish listed, and something that you've abandoned in your cart.
Interesting.
So it's really about, in luxury, I need to show up for Jeff. In everybody else's model, they're showing up for people like Jeff.
That's very different.
It's very different because it's literally just about you, your preferences, your wants, the way that your relationships, and your experience. It's not about everybody else like you. It's literally just for you. And so scaling individualized experiences is very different than personalized experiences. So in order for us to create this sparkly little piece of magic that's going on these luxury brands e-commerce stores, we had to build an entire data platform for identity management and a CRM system and a customer data platform, and essentially unify all of these systems to have this hub to power individualized experiences, to mix products with people on the customer side and be able to roll it all together. So I kind of had to make a really big commitment up front that, like, I'm quitting my job. I'm going to solve this for the next 5 years before I get to go live. So it kind of started back in 2005, 2006. I was one of the first fashion bloggers trying to figure out how to make money online because affiliate marketing didn't really exist really. So how do you get commission on digital sales when you couldn't track a link?
Yeah, it makes it really hard.
It made it really hard. So I created something where kind of took it out of Willy Wonka, like the golden ticket. And so everybody had a code that if you entered the code at checkout, you didn't get a discount. It would be tagged that the order came from me. And then the brands all had a ranking system that the first order that customer would get their denim or a t-shirt added to their order. Every 25th order that came in from me, they'd have their denim doubled. So we had this system that
nice.
If you enter my code at checkout, you might get a surprise or you might not.
That's a brilliant way to do that. If it doesn't exist, you create something, but you give them an incentive to do it.
I didn't want incentives to be discounts, right? Especially growing up, my entire career, starting from 18, my first real job I had was gym memberships, which was commission. I moved out of the house and I started selling cars, all commission. So no salesperson wants to wake up and work for 30% off today.
And that fits with the DNA of the companies as well, because they don't want their merchandise discounted. It doesn't fit with who they are as a brand.
No, I mean, the Prada handbag's not on sale, ever.
Ever, right.
So there is no discount code. There has to be some other reason to be able to nurture that customer or provide an experience or something level of excitement or thank you or gratitude that was just not attached to a discount.
That's a really, really cool concept.
I feel like I'm from Mars or something when I'm talking to people because they're what do you mean? You just want to sell the product full price? I'm Go figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to sell the product full price and make the customer happy doing it.
Right. Right. That's really funny. I mean, the e-commerce, typically it's a much more of a marketing play. And, you're talking about the things that you built, identity management and sales. So how is it different with a luxury brand in marketing versus sales? And how do you balance that?
So personally, I'm not a big fan of any marketing, but
I love controversial statements like that. That's great.
Yeah, an email address is not a relationship, so we'll just leave that there. But the fact is that it works. It's operationalized, it works, it converts. Who am I to tell you to stop doing it? I'm just saying, can we do it for new customers? Can we treat our current customers who we're supposed to be friends with? Can we just provide a higher level of hospitality and really focus on hospitality instead of acquisition? They are already your customer. So we can get to know them. We can have two-way conversations. We can surprise and delight them. We can call them on the phone. We can send them to dinner. We can get them US Open tickets. They're in. So once they're in, can we at least try to start treating them like family in a little bit, So I kind of go in with brands saying, don't change anything that you're currently doing. Just keep doing it. I call it a push strategy. So push marketing. And then we're coming in with Luxlock and saying, we're going to build out your pull strategy. So like the pull strategy is getting people to camp out of your store 3 days before a new product's released. People placing an order 9 months before they're going to get a delivery for it, being offered to buy something and invited to purchase something. And kind of like, how do you get your customers to just come to you without you having to pay for them to click? And so that's kind of how we've been working with our clients, is building out the pull strategy for digital, because their in-store marketing is all pull. How do you get people to walk through the door?
Right.
Because you don't really pay somebody out there. There's nobody in a Google costume on the corner in 34th Street saying literally hey, I'll give you $1.14 if you walk into Macy's today.
Yeah.
Right. You have to have that pull and create that pull and that demand. And we just don't do it online. But it's proven to work. So why did we just throw it away? We know it works and it doesn't cost as much money, right?
So how can SaaS founders use that same kind of concept instead of just the push marketing? How can we pull people to our brands? How do we become attractive as brands?
I think one of the best examples I had is when I talk to somebody who's in email marketing, it's their job to send out 1.5 million emails on a day and to segment. And you spend 8 hours doing it at work. But then when you go home and you open up your personal Gmail, you curse and unsubscribe and block, and you're frustrated as a consumer. And I think we just kind of need to start thinking about what I'm doing on the business side. Would I actually want this? Is there value? And I think just kind of asking why, because on the luxury side, why is always number one. When, why? Why do I want to call this person? Why does this person want to come to me? Why do people use the word love when they describe these companies, right? It's very rarely somebody says, oh, I like Valentino.
Right.
I love Valentino, right? They get love. And I think we can kind of just think of whatever we're building, will my customers use the love word instead of the like word? Or be able to even say our name. You can't even spell most of these tech companies anymore.
They get more and more strange.
They're more and more strange.
Yes.
But it's kind of that brand identity of saying, I like this app or I like this tool. It saves me time. It's my go-to. If I had to turn 10 tools off tomorrow, is your tool going to make the cut? And that it doesn't have to be rational. And I think that's one of the biggest things is engineers seem to be quite rational.
Sure.
Luxury industry is not rational at all.
I think most buyers are not rational. They make emotional decisions and then they rationalize that decision with logic.
Yes.
They make that decision because they love the brand or they love the tool or the salesperson or the relationship.
Yeah. And so I just don't think everything has to make sense. It just doesn't always have to make sense. Does it feel good? I mean, that kind of is fine. And so, I mean, I see a lot of A/B testing and a lot of these logical things, but sometimes we do things like we're a tech company, but sometimes we've done things just because it's prettier.
Of course, because we wanted to. Yeah, we liked it.
Yeah. Could I have done it 15 hours ago? And yeah, but the 15 hours gave us something prettier. It doesn't, There's no KPI to it. It's just prettier. And so, my engineers love me. But I think that there's just a lot of the SaaS companies, they all look the same. Their websites look the same.
Yes.
They're beautiful. They're very clean. They're very easy to understand. Our company doesn't look like a SaaS company at all online.
That's 100% right.
We don't even look like a tech company.
No, you actually look like a luxury brand. I mean, you go there and you think, what am I buying? It's not software. It must be a car, must be a $10,000 handbag. I mean, it's, something big.
It's something different,
Yes.
And because when I looked at all the websites at the end of the day, I pull up our 5 competitors. We all use the same words. It's the same narrative, but we all do completely different things. And we solve the problems from very different perspectives. Our infrastructure is different. How we sell a product is different. How users use our product is different. And I'm like, if I just build a software website, I'm just contributing to the confusion.
Yeah.
And so we went with something that looks like the brands that we serve and spoke to their business using their words, not the technical SaaS words. We don't use a lot of the same terminology or vocabulary. We speak our clients' language, and we've gotten a lot of compliments from it, which is great. But it's mainly like investors and advisors and things of that nature, like from the tech side. They're like, oh, you need to change your website. I'm like, our customers are fine with our website. Yeah. It's not a problem for them. We're still getting the inbound because they went to 4 other websites that all sounded the same. And then we just talked to them the way they like to be spoken to. And that's part of their world. And, we got a partner request. We don't have enough volume to say that it's not working yet.
Well, that's a luxury business, right? Because if you were going to be just normal e-commerce, then it's all about, showing we've got this giant TAM. Every brand on earth is a potential prospect, but you've really limited to a very specific market, which I think is smart.
Yeah, it's really, you can either be everything to somebody or nothing to everyone. And we went with, we want to be everything to somebody. There's ways that we feel that we can scale down market with like IoT and on-demand data and different ways to power smart tables. And you can use it in Gap and you can use it in a recommendation engine on a Zara. But that's not our go-to-market and that's not our goal. Our goal is, how do you take care of the person that's one of the hardest people to make happy, that has the highest level of demand? And we know how to do that really good,
I think that's brilliant.
And I'm like, I can win there. And once I can operationalize the most difficult customer base, everybody else is easy.
Yeah. Once you nail that, it makes the everything else really, really easy.
Everybody wants to be treated like a VIP. Everybody wants to be treated beautifully. Everybody wants those individualized experiences rather than mass personalized, but I can't really build that to an audience that doesn't expect it and doesn't care because it's a smaller price point. It's not that important. Sure. So I'm like, we have to build for the people who have expectations, that have experience being treated that way and being served, and sell things that are ridiculously priced. Because the ROI is there. If you spend money to sell something that costs $5 million or $3,600, it matters that it was done right. And so it was a lot easier for us to kind of just take that sliver and say, we're going to be a vertical SaaS for the entire luxury industry, handbags to kitchen sinks.
And I think that's a really interesting take and really smart to focus in like that. Something you mentioned earlier was just about repeat purchasing. And so you're really selling to one and having that relationship and then tracking that over time, which is really unique. You don't see that. I mean, SaaS or not SaaS. You don't see that. Normally e-commerce is very transactional. And so it's, maybe you buy some things, maybe they send you some emails and promotions and that kind of thing, but they don't keep track of how much you spent, like lifetime purchases. And that's one of the things that you mentioned, repeat purchases.
Yeah.
And how do they use that to build more loyalty?
Lifetime value is one of the big drivers in luxury because the lifetime value is generational. So it is your grandmother, your mother, you, your kids. That brand equity goes through the family, which is very interesting, right? Like they're wired by birth.
Well, that's what they get used to. And it's not like, oh, my grandma shopped there, so I don't want to go there anymore. But that's something that is very different in luxury than maybe in traditional retail.
And so really tracking the lifetime value of a customer, traditional e-com, it's great if you can get that customer to buy four times a year. And if that's 4 times a year and you're looking at like $23 basket or $125 basket, it's a lot different when I'm looking at this customer spends $250,000 a year with us.
That is very different. In multiple years.
For 20 years. We were
there.
So
are there special things that you get based on lifetime spend? I mean, if you're tracking that?
There is.
Level up?
So the more and more that you shop with your sales associate, essentially the better they get to know you and they can start anticipating your needs and they know how to spoil you and what makes you happy. So whether or not that is making sure you have US Open tickets, helping you get a tea time at a golf course while you're traveling, sending you flowers on your birthday, making brunch reservations for you and your daughter when she graduates from like high school or college. And then you come shopping because it's like a celebratory moment. I think that's one of the big things is a lot of times the moments that you're meeting your customer are celebratory because you're really happy and you're celebrating something, or you're really sad because you just like broke up with your boyfriend, you got a divorce, you changed jobs. So it's very stressful or it's very happy. And essentially you're there at very vulnerable moments in your customer's life. And so you just build relationships like very strong. And so you can get away with an order being late. It's not the end of the world because we forgive our friends.
Yeah, yeah. It's more about the relationship than the transaction or the thing itself.
Yeah. And so one of the problems we look to solve is really LTV is not being aggregated across different countries and between online and in store all the time. None of these systems really communicate to each other. So the luxury brands, some of them have JVs. So like in Asia and the Middle East, the brand, the retail store there might be a joint venture. So it's not 100% connected back to the brand and the systems. And then in maybe Latin America, the store there is a franchise.
So it may that those purchases would not be reflected then back at home base.
They're not being tracked back, and that can impact your aftercare services, your warranty services, your authentication, and your LTV, and whether or not what you're getting for holiday this year. Because if you're spending money off grid, the customer doesn't know that they just made a purchase off grid.
Right.
You have no idea. You took a cruise, you got off the cruise, you walked into your favorite brand store, you bought something, and then you go home and you're like, where's my purchase? I need this fixed, or I need this repaired, or the sales associate sees you walking with something like, when'd you buy that? And you have to go track down this information to get your file transferred. And it's just not very scalable. And so we just see it as, I'm the same person, whether or not I'm in New York and LA or in London. It's the same brand. Why can't everything just sync?
Right. And it shouldn't be the customer's responsibility to figure that out or even pay attention to it. It should just work.
It should just work. If you buy something here and then you get back home and you want to return it, it shouldn't make a difference. But because a lot of the systems are just very large, not really designed for direct-to-consumer experience, because these e-commerce stores are relatively new.
Sure.
So they haven't been live and integrated over the last 10 years necessarily. And I don't think some of the things that we did 10 years ago are really relevant today. And I think it's interesting. Just because we do it now, do I really want to spend money building something to replace something that's already outdated? Can we just build what's new and move forward?
Yeah.
So you get into a lot of these conversations with having to build things for the sake of being able to turn something else off rather than building what you want to build because it was already outdated. Let's just move forward to something cool. We don't get to always, necessarily do that because people don't like change.
Right. What's been the biggest challenge in building the company?
Biggest challenge in building the company, I'd probably say being able to compete with the noise, getting yourself out there. It's almost like all press is paid press. Everything costs money.
Yes.
Awards are paid for. They're not necessarily based off of merit.
Most people don't know that, but that's 100% right.
I could have been on the top 10 list of so many things or in this article that just was on Business of Fashion. 5 people messaged me, how come you weren't on there? I'm like, because I didn't pay to be in the article.
Right.
People forget that it's not merit-based. And so you have to raise enough or charge enough up front to kind of, you're constantly in this, chicken or egg scenario. And then you're trying, you end up putting the cart before the horse because you're building more stuff than you should have to. But you got to build it to keep going. If you're going to go customer, you need to build those revenue things. So you end up doing a lot more than being able to stay super narrow and focused to just attack a market. I feel you kind of have to just build alongside your customers that are paying you. So I'd say that, there's definitely a value in kind of going to market without venture capital. Definitely difficult. It's for just to compete, I guess you could say, right?
Sure.
The second thing I think is, this isn't my first startup. It's my second. And this time I learned how to ask for help.
Brilliant. That's hard to do. It really is.
It's so difficult. It was really difficult because I worked on a side where I needed to know. You're expected to know. If you don't know, it was negative. If you need help, do you need this job? Should you have this job?
Right.
Because there's 60,000 people applying for your job every day, right? So it's just very aggressive that it was looked down upon if you asked for help. So you had to just do whatever you needed to figure it out. Phone a friend, call somebody, Google it, YouTube it, just say yes. Let me get it to you tomorrow.
Then figure out how to deliver afterwards.
And you just weren't able to ask people. And then this time I just I needed help. I'm I can't build all of this by myself. I really need help. And it's amazing when you ask for help in the startup world, people roll up their sleeves and they come help you.
Yeah.
And they're just just tell me what you need. I got you. And I've just been completely, I wouldn't be here if I didn't learn how to ask for help.
That's awesome.
So I think those were kind of the two things: how to grow and enter a market when you have limited resources, and then asking for help so you can get a lot more free resources.
Very, very smart. What about operating systems, operations, and actually having structured processes? Is that something that has made a difference?
I don't know if it's made a difference. I mean, I come from corporate. So I'm used to structure. We're probably more structured in a lot of ways than a lot of other startups when it came to finances, databases, customer experience, over documentation. We don't iterate very fast because we're asking why. I think the biggest thing is the learning how to do more things the SaaS way rather than the e-commerce way or the retail way or the enterprise software way, because retail doesn't use a lot of SaaS products compared to enterprise. And so trying to understand how SaaS founders are doing things, how they are able to operationalize and automate things faster using different tools that I literally never heard of them because I don't hang out with them. I'm hanging out with Microsoft Retail and Oracle and SAP. And I'm not hanging out with SaaS companies because I need to build my friends and my partners with the rest of the software tech stack that my customers use.
Sure.
And so there's just not enough time for a founder to have this many communities that they need to go to events and things. So it's been really important to find more people that have worked and grown in SaaS companies to kind of learn from them on how they've scaled more things and made things just a lot more automated. So I think there's a big benefit on what's already been discovered. But I don't think consumer brands in the startup realm, there's a lot for them to learn from what SaaS software companies do, from how they communicate, how they do their systems and organize things. Because my Notion looks completely different. And I'm whoa. Your layout's way better. Get over here. I'm ordering food. I'm buying a bottle of wine. Come spend the evening with me and we're overhauling my Notion.
That's great. I love porting processes or ideas from one industry to another because we can learn a lot from each other.
Are you familiar with the Medici effect?
No, what is that?
So the Medici effect is it's a book that I read, and it really kind of talks about finding the intersection between two unrelated industries. So it takes two people from completely different industries and puts them together to try and find something to create innovation. And so Bain uses it on a regular basis. You become a consultant in your specialty for 2 years when you come in, and then you go to something unrelated to anything you know anything about. And you go spend 2 years there trying to find something new, to build something new. It's kind of
great.
How to manufacture innovation is essentially the goal. And it's by taking people out of their element and putting them in something completely unrelated to find the magic. And so I've always really felt I want to talk to people in fintech. I want to talk to people in SaaS. I want to talk to people that are in like insurance or regulation or cyber or whatever it is, has nothing to do with me. But I know that's where I'm going to find something that's going to make an exponential impact to me, because I already know all this stuff in my space. And I'm like, I took the good stuff already. I'm like, where's the good stuff over here in other industries, that I can learn from, I can take from, and I might find some type of new magic.
I love that. We'll make sure and link that book in the show notes, The Medici Effect.
It's really good. It starts out pretty dry, but by the end of the book, I was just like, oh, I make sense now.
That's great. And, thinking about taking, processes or things that work well in one place and another, we were talking before, and you mentioned a cookieless world. So, what would that look like if e-commerce adopted that from the luxury brands and created a cookieless world?
Yeah, so it's coming more and more into conversations about changing, being able to track across sites and because it all comes back to marketing. And how do I personalize an experience to you if I don't know who you are? So there's this level of, we need to understand who you are so that I can meet your expectations, so that I can exceed your expectations, or I can create something for you. But right now, almost everything is really wrapped around marketing versus sales. And so with Luxlock, we don't need cookies because you're able to have portability rights of your data. So you can go ahead and log into Luxlock across all these brands and bring all of your data with you, because that's part of like GDPR compliance. You have ownership of your data and you're signing into the software to be connected to somebody you have an established relationship with. So there's the value there. I don't need it to market to you. I need it to do what I'm supposed to do, which is connect you to your sales associate and to personalize this on a one-to-one basis. So I'm super excited for a cookieless world because I'm like, right? Like I got this. But at the same time, there's a lot of models out there with affiliate marketing and affiliate links where how much is going to stay and how much is going to go. And do you have all your eggs in one basket? Because if you rely on affiliate marketing, is Google making money off of affiliate links? Last time I checked, they weren't.
Right.
So you have all your eggs in one basket, and the people who provide this service to you don't make money off of it. I would personally be quite frightened that like you're walking on the line.
Yeah.
So, but I find a lot of people aren't even thinking about a lot of the cybersecurity and all of the things that are happening on the tech side with compliance in the US. These are conversations that are very prevalent when I'm talking to customers in Europe or Latin America, but nobody's really talking about it here in the US. And it could literally change in like a week.
Sure.
There's already Google's on some type of schedule. I think something by like Q1 or Q2 of next year, there's like another level of cookies going away. So I think that if we just do the right thing, regardless of compliance, I think more brands would be ready for it, and marketing and sales are not the same.
They're not. It's a great conversation. Where can people learn more about you and about Luxlock online?
You can visit our website at luxlock.com.
The one that doesn't look like SaaS, like every other SaaS company out there.
Yes.
Love it.
LUX LOCK. You can sign up for an account as a shopper. And there's a list of all the brands that use our software, which we're updating daily right now. Like 3 brands just launched this week. And you can use our software on those brands. And then you can find me on Twitter at Casey C. Golden. And then you'll get to shoot the shit with me.
Outstanding. And we'll make sure and link all of that on the show notes. Casey, I've really enjoyed our conversation today. Thank you for being on SaaS Fuel.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again, Casey, for coming on the show and sharing your journey and insights. You know, in the luxury space, what better name is there than Golden, right? I mean, it's just like meant to be. But Casey, you know, you have an amazing business, and I love that you're uniting the digital and physical spaces together. You know, it's not like crazy futuristic VR, but it's personable. It's totally customized and relationship driven. It's bringing, you know, humanizing commerce online, which I think is really, really cool. And Casey didn't name drop too much during the episode, but I know some of the brands that she works with, and they are super, super high end. So think of the high end brands that you know, like, yes, those. And honestly, some of those that she's working with even make those look pretty common. Such a great model. And I have to say, hats off to the forward-thinking luxury brands who have embraced the concept of adding a digital experience to their world. It's a real differentiator in the market. And Luxlock keeps the experience super premium. So if you think about luxury brands, they really want to be, you know, at the top. They want to be the differentiated. They want to be the forward-thinking. They are the trendsetters. And the ones that are embracing this digital transformation, the digital experience online, like with Luxlock, they are really showing that they're not only leading in the luxury space, leading in their markets, that they are a premium brand, but they're really showing that they are not only that, but they are a thought leader in that space. They're a thought leader in e-commerce. They're a thought leader among all of the luxury brands. And I think that's something that really differentiates them and takes them to an even higher level than some of the other ones who are really just pushing back against technology. So I think that's really, really interesting. So hats off to you. If that is you and that's your world, you know, you should give yourself a pat on the back because you're really setting yourself up as a thought leader in the luxury space as well. So congratulations for that. You can learn more about Casey and Luxlock at luxlock.com. That's Luxlock, luxlock.com. And as always, all links, highlights, resources, and full show notes are available at saasfuel.com. Be sure to check out our episodes and shorts on YouTube as well. Just search for SaaS Fuel. You can always subscribe or follow us for podcasts, for YouTube. Everyone who subscribes this week gets a personalized shopping experience where you can buy me anything you want from any luxury brand of your choice. Right. Shouldn't that be the other way around? I don't know. Subscribe anyway. Love that. Well, join us next time on our SaaS Fuel Expert Series for Harry Spate, founder of Selling with Dignity and host of the Sales Made Easy podcast. Who could use some sales made easy, right? Harry brings insight into how to succeed in hyper-competitive sales environments, which I think we're probably all feeling right now. Next Tuesday, our founder is Bish Smear, founder and CEO of Enigmatic Smile. It's a fintech that has cracked the code on customer loyalty programs that actually create loyalty. So I will see you next time. And as always, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to SaaS Fuel. Full show notes for each episode, which includes a summary, key takeaways, quotes, and any resources mentioned, are available at saasfuel.com. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're enjoying the content and getting value from these episodes, please leave us a rating and review at ratethispodcast.com/SaaSfuel. We'll be sure to read these out on future episodes.